On today's show, we visit with event planner Julie Brewster, hear from Park Plymouth, and Lance Kennedy, Pembroke Director of Recreation, pop up with the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce, and talk about upcoming things to do in our area. We're glad you're here. Let's go. It's all cowboy boots and tie-dye at the Spire Center on Thursday, March 28th for Uncle John's Banjo, a four-piece combo that puts a twangy bluegrass twist on the music of the Grateful Dead. Over the last decade, this Boston-based band has garnered a dead-worthy following, performing high-energy, exciting shows at various long-term residencies and concerts all around the South Shore area. Doors open at 6:30 and the music starts at 7:30. This show is presented by the Antonia and Vladimir Kuliev Cultural History Fund. Don't fiddle around too long to get your tickets to this popular show. Visit the Spire Center box office or spirecenter.org to plan your night. On Thursday, March 28th, the Pembroke Public Library invites you to join Dublin-born musician and folklorist Tom O'Carroll for the Irish Diaspora, a unique and lively program about Irish culture. Through musical performance, stories, history, and wit, journey with Tom through a sweeping and dynamic narrative highlighting the influence the Irish have had around the world. Weaving song throughout the talk to capture emotional nuance behind historical facts, O'Carroll will explore a multitude of Irish movement, such as the Dalriada Kingdom on the Scottish coast, the Flight of Earls, the Cromwellian clearances, the Great Hunger of the 1840s, as well as contemporary issues currently prompting Irish natives to leave their homeland. This event starts at 6:30 p.m., runs for about an hour, and is free and open to the public. The Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce welcomed small business owners from around the region and our pop-up team to their annual meeting. Here's more.
Tiff Phillips here, and we're here at Indian Pond Country Club in Kingston attending the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce 2024 annual meeting. We're going to have a great time talking to some great businesses. Let's see what these folks have to say. The Chamber's very own Bob Nolette. Great to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So we're at the annual meeting. What usually takes place at the annual meeting?
So our annual meeting is one of our biggest events that we have each year. It's really a way for us to share with our members in the community what we've done the past year. So it's a great way to kind of highlight all of our accomplishments and the different programs, initiatives that the Chamber has been working on, and really celebrate a lot of our members, and some really exciting awards we do are our Ambassador of the Year, our Business Person of the Year, and our newer Vinnie DiMacedo Small Business Grant Opportunity Award.
Oh, wow,
yes.
That's amazing. So as you do, because you work so hard all through the year, is it great to kind of take a step back and reflect on all the accomplishments the Chamber's made?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's really rewarding. I love what I do. We have a great team here. And what we do is, we're here to help the business community. That's what it's all about. So to be able to come together with 300 plus local businesses and members and celebrate the Plymouth area business community, it's a great day.
I am with Luke, the intern for Hotel 1620. How do you like working at Hotel 1620?
I love it. It's my senior year. I finally am graduating. You know, every other day I get to go to the hotel and oversee what this whole sales team gets to do. So it's a really great experience, really getting my boots on the ground, so to say, you know.
So are you looking to get into the hospitality industry?
I'm looking to get in business in general, really looking at sales. I work with the sales team there, so that's really what I'm overall trying to get into.
And how do you like it so far?
I mean, I love it. I get to go to events like this or go see different venues, different sites, different golf courses, different business that the hotel does with all these other businesses.
Well, it was wonderful to meet you, Luke. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I'm with Michelle from Mind Balance and Wellness Living. Now I have to ask, you're a new business.
I am a brand new business.
So you just had your ribbon cutting. Tell me about that experience.
So it was, I think 30 people signed up. The chamber was amazing getting it out there. Almost 60 people signed up. Like, it was way beyond like my wildest dreams. Legit.
Amazing. And what kind of services do you provide?
So we do yoga, meditation, life coaching. I'm also a certified financial planner. That's kind of my background. I don't practice that, but I bring that into a lot of like the coaching that I do. We have Reiki, we have massages, we have pampering rooms where you could just come if you want a timeout for 20 minutes and soak your feet in like a tub and like wear a robe. You can do that.
Sign me up.
Yeah. I had one woman fall asleep. I'm like, that's perfect. She's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, you're good. Like it's a tranquility center. So it worked.
That sounds amazing. How have you personally benefited from the chamber being around?
One, I've met so many amazing people. And then just your ability to just share your business and, you know, do the walking, like networking and the different like luncheons, and everybody's just super nice and super helpful. So it's been awesome.
Wonderful. Well, good luck. You're going to do amazing. I'm with Paul from Zebra Visuals. Can you tell me about some of the services you offer?
Well, we're a full-service sign company, so we do a lot of the signs that you've seen around particularly around Plymouth. We work from Cape Cod to Providence.
Oh, wow.
But about 70 to 80% of our work is in Plymouth.
Oh, wonderful. And how long have you been in Plymouth?
We've been in Plymouth 22 years. We just moved from the waterfront. Most people know us from our building right on Water Street next to Plymouth Rock. But we had to move because that building is being torn down.
Right.
We just moved to the Plymouth Industrial Park, so it's important for us to know that we're back here to get our word out that we are still around. We're still in Plymouth doing what we do. We're just not on the waterfront anymore.
Yeah. And now we're neighbors. Very exciting.
Right across the street from you.
Can you tell me a bit about how the chamber has contributed to the success of the business community here in Plymouth?
Well, I remember when I moved to Plymouth 22 years ago, I didn't know anyone. We worked primarily behind the scenes doing work for large companies. And when we decided to open our doors to the public, we moved to Plymouth, not knowing a soul. And I had to get the word out to other businesses. And the way I did that is I just signed up for the chamber and started coming to these events. And I would say for the first 2 years, that's where we got most of our referrals and most of our local business. We get some walk-in at the time, but it was mostly through this organization. After that, it seemed like once we know everybody, we're more situated, to really take advantage of the chamber, you have to get more involved in it. I did not really do that. I was involved in Plymouth government at the time. So that was my passion, and that's where I got involved. And now that phase is over, we're back to reintroducing ourselves to the business community here in Plymouth.
Wonderful. It was so great chatting with you. Thank you for joining us today.
All right, pleasure. Thank you.
Did you know that your kitchen is also a science lab? Every time you heat, cut, or freeze an ingredient, you're changing its composition. The act of baking is all chemical transformation. The fluffy, aromatic, sweet deliciousness you pull out of the oven is entirely different than what went in. Want to learn more about what happens in the process and get to lick the spoon and taste the results? Join Sarah Leahy-Benjamin at the Duxbury Senior Center for The Chemistry of Cake, a science talk and tasting on Friday, March 29th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. The cost is $10 per person. Register via the center. Logging and its contribution to Maine's economy is the subject of the film screening at Kingston Council of Aging on March 27th at 1 p.m. The documentary, Maine History and Logging, produced by local filmmaker Dan Tremblay, takes us into the Allagash wilderness of the past to trace the activities of the men who logged the area and delivered their goods to paper mills by way of Maine's earliest commercial highway, the Allagash Waterway. Also included in the film is a short history of the beautiful Bangor area. Call or visit the Senior Center to register. Planning events is a party for some and a dreaded chore for others. But what is it like to do it for a living? Tiff Phillips sat down with Julie Brewster.
I'm with Julie Brewster of Event Planners of Plymouth. Welcome. So excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it.
So let's talk about a little bit about you. Where did you grow up?
So I was born in Somerville until I was about 5, but then I did all of my schooling in Woburn, so just a little bit north of Boston, all the way through high school.
How did you get into event planning?
So right around the time when everybody graduates college and then maybe mid-20s when people start having weddings, I feel like everybody's either like having a wedding or they're a guest, right? Like mid to late 20s. So as I was going to weddings constantly, I could just see things that just didn't seem efficient to me, the way my brain worked. I was like, oh, they should have used that there. Like, why is that staying at the church when they could have done this or that? I don't know why. I should have just relaxed and enjoyed the wedding, right? So it wasn't necessarily that my brain was, I have to do weddings. It was more like herding cats, I guess you would say, right? Like organizing people and events. I could see ways that it would be more efficient. So I started helping my friends at first, or they say, oh, ask Julie, she could do that for you. So I did that for quite a while. And then around 2009, my mother-in-law had given me this book because she knew I was interested in planning things. I had been working in restaurants, in bars, and doing events all the time in restaurants. And I read this book. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make a website. I'm going to get online, and that's what I'm going to do. And then that's what triggered it right out of the gate.
So tell us more about Event Planners of Plymouth.
So when I started, I was doing day of coordination. So somebody could come to me and say, I just need you to kind of pull it all together. And back then I did a good job. Right now, when I look back, I say, wow, I do such an incredible job now. Because back then I was good, but now it's very easy for me to just be on the spot, be able to troubleshoot, put things together. But backing up to the day of someone's wedding, I now can do a full planning for them. So I can sit down and say, what is your budget? What are your needs? What's important to you? Some people, the food's important. They're very into food. Some people, the dancing's important. They want a big party. Some people, the intimacy of just being with close family and friends. So now I can assist someone with a wedding saying, that's great. Let's talk about what you want. Like people are always like, how much? I don't know how much. I don't know how much you need, Right. So I always tell people it's a very a la carte type of system. Sometimes you need a lot of help. Sometimes you need a little bit. Sometimes you want to do DIY and you'd like me to jump in at the end and take your place, right? Like, okay, you've done everything. So text me pictures of how you want it set up. Let's talk about how you want it run, and it's going to be a great day.
How far in advance do you think people should start planning their weddings?
So definitely at least a year, and I do think it all depends on where you're going to get married. So if you're at a venue, you don't necessarily need to plan too much further than that. You just want to pick the date. So that's what happens, right? If it's something that's in high demand at a high demand season, which right now that season seems to be September and October, maybe they want, a fall style wedding at a place that books up fast. Well, then you should probably do it about a year and a half just to pick the date, I would say.
So what advice do you have for newly engaged folks?
So I would say pick a budget and pick to it. Like one of the things I always tell the new couples is you don't want to start a marriage off in debt, right? Because it's super stressful. Yes. So let's talk logistically about, like what I said, what's important to you. Okay, well, it's important to get everybody together. So let's figure out what is it that you can part with as far as, is it $10,000, is it $20,000? We would all love to get married at some of these all-inclusive places that start at $60,000, but it's not necessarily feasible in today's day and time when, everything's so expensive. So I would say figure out something you're comfortable with spending and go from there. Because if you're both comfortable, they won't really then be that animosity of that stress that we've spent too much,
Right. So why would people choose to do an event planner rather than do a DIY? Does it alleviate a lot of stress or?
It does, and that's an excellent question. And I will tell you, like myself, if I wasn't a wedding planner and I would be like, well, I can do it. I'm a planner. I'm organized. And I meet like quite a few brides that are just like me, right? But then what happens is, what's going to happen on the day of your wedding? How are you the bride and the planner the same day? Do you really want to be like going and checking things and be like, okay, that's set up right. All right, she needs to do this. You're not going to enjoy it as much. So the investment in a planner is worth its weight in gold to enjoy the event you have just spent over a year planning.
Are there any like wedding trends that are taking place this year that you've started to notice?
So the wedding trend, I can definitely go off of last year and we'll see if it's progressing into this year. One of the biggest trends was there's no more cutting the cake.
Really?
Yes. And so if you asked me 10 years ago, I would have said, well, the garter is out, right? Because that was like super in the 80s. I know. Everybody's like,
cringe.
Little ski, cringe, right? Yeah. So I want to say 9 out of 10 weddings, no one cuts the cake. So I think what's happening is people are saying like, oh, well, the cake is a waste. Nobody eats it, whatever. I actually agree with that. However, what I usually tell couples is, hey, you don't have to cut the cake. It doesn't have to be a thing where we're playing like how sweet it is. We don't have to do that, right? But we can make it a point that maybe you have something you'd like to share for a photo op or that you're eating, because if you don't have this dessert moment, guests don't know when they're allowed to have dessert.
Right.
So that's why I always tell them, like, it's just a logistical piece. So if you don't want to spend money on a cake, I've had some people get a small cake from Stop and Shop, have a bunch of desserts that I'm happy to put out. Like, that's trending. Mini brownies, mini cupcakes. And I think it's awesome, right? So if you can go to a wedding and then you just eat a little bit of what you're in the mood for, it's really nice. Instead of getting served this raspberry lemon cake, but I'm a chocolate person, so I'm not going to touch it. I wasted it. Wedding cake, $7 a slice, rightfully so, because I've made cakes before. I get it, right? So super trending right there. A trend that's been here for a while is the barn-style weddings, and then getting married on site where the reception is. So all those things are still happening. Hugely popular.
Such a game changer.
It really, really is. There's no more like I had one church wedding last year. We were getting married at the church and then traveling 30 minutes for the reception, and nobody really does it anymore. I enjoy it. I think it's really nice. It's pretty, but it's not my wedding. So I want whatever the client wants, and I want to help them achieve that in like the most fun, stressful way possible.
So you're very much an entrepreneur. You own a bunch of different businesses, which I'm super impressed by. I don't know how you get any sleep. One of those is Brews and Sips. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. So 2 years ago, my best friend, her name is Samantha Cipolo. My name's Julie Brewster. So we did a play on words for our last name, Brews and Sips. What we did was we took a 1961 horse trailer, double horse trailer, and the first one that we purchased from California, they drove it across country, and it was renovated into a mobile bar. Taps, a sink, speed racks, the sides open up. So what we did was started adding the bar service to any wedding. Every wedding I plan, one of my questions, do you need a caterer? Yes. Here are my suggestions. Do you need a bar? Yes. I'm here for you. So now I can be this one-stop shop. So what we do is we have the horse trailer and we can pull up to any outdoor tented wedding. Some venues, like wherever it is that we are, the sides open up. We make specialty drinks depending on what the clients would like, which is always super fun. We actually had a Halloween wedding this year. So we got a fog machine and then we did all kinds of spider webs. So we can stage the trailer, whatever decor they want. They can give us stuff to match the trailer. And it has been such an amazing aesthetic piece that it's so popular we bought another trailer.
I love it.
And this time we did the work ourselves to save a little bit. And my dad, who's very handy, did all the customization of the wood inside and outside, well, inside, outside, everywhere. So now it's very functional as a bar. We have a different style sink in this one. As a specialized bartender, we can muddle fruit. We can mix things to order. We can look at what we have. Yep, I can make that. I can, and really customize the experience and make it fun for the guests. And then the couple as well. So it's been hugely popular, and we always like to get a picture of our bride and groom inside the trailer. So I have many of those that I can share with you
that's
after.
Cute.
Yeah, it is really neat.
So what do you love about your job? What makes you get up in the morning to be like, yes, I love what I do?
I think, actually, I know my first job, Dunkin' Donuts, when I was 14. I remember being there, and I remember thinking, like, I like people. I'm a people person. And it's okay if other people aren't. I happen to be. And I like giving people a smile. And I remember at just such a young age, I was saying to myself, I'm going to own this Dunkin' Donuts someday. And that opportunity did come, but I went another way, just so you know. Probably because I didn't have the money. But I love that every day I can wake up doing things that I enjoy and having people around me. So knowing that I'm making a difference in other people's lives, but that's what gives me great pleasure. So it took me an awful long time to figure out the niche in which I would do these types of jobs. I've done every job under the sun like most people, right? Especially when you're younger, between the Dunkin' Donuts and then bartending. I was a high school Spanish teacher. I was a cheerleading coach. I was all over the place.
You're a Renaissance woman.
And it's not that I didn't enjoy those things, but they were like, it didn't give me that, oh, I can't wait. Like with weddings, like I can't wait to help you. I can't wait to talk about it. I want to see what you have. I want to guide you in how your plan can come together seamlessly.
Right.
And that just makes me feel awesome.
So what is like your rose and your thorn about owning businesses? What do you absolutely love, and what have been some challenges?
Sure. No, that's a great question. Because I love the flexibility, right? Like that's amazing. If my kids have field trips, if I need to volunteer in the classroom for crafts or whatever it is. So the whole flexibility is amazing. And then I feel like the only stressful part for me is undercharging. Because I love what I do, I feel like it's hard for me to put a price on it, which is ridiculous, right? Because I have watched other people do the planning I do that are getting paid double as much. And I'm like, like I went down and trimmed her toenail. It was getting caught on her veil. Like that person's just sitting there in the corner. And this is a true story because I was hired as a planner, even though this couple had a planner. But when they spoke with me somewhere, they were like, you need to be there. We can't, we've already paid for the other one. So they were paying for two people at once. And I remember being there and the other planner was like, what should we do about this? And I'm like, you've been planning it for a year and a half. I just stepped in 2 weeks ago. But I think that what happens, everyone in life has a job, and sometimes you're doing it for the money, and sometimes you're doing it because it comes naturally and you happen to get paid, which is the ultimate goal in my life, was to do something that I enjoyed that came naturally, that I was getting paid for.
What are some advice you have for folks maybe just starting their own business for the first time? Something you wish somebody had told you when you first got started?
So I just didn't know what to do, and I have no idea. The Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce, not to like plug them, but they do deserve.
Oh,
a huge
please plug them. They're amazing.
They are, but I just didn't know, and I should have known, but I was young, and I didn't know. Like, just go to them. Hey, I want to start a business. What's my first step? I remember sitting there Googling how to start a business, get an LLC. So here I am paying $500 for this LLC, but I'm like, that didn't start my business. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So it was a very confusing time, but I also had 3 little kids, and I was trying to do, all these things, working like at bar at night so I could take care of the kids. So I just didn't know where to start.
Right.
But if somebody wanted to start a business, I would say, go to your local chamber. And if you happen to live around here, well, you are so lucky because they are ridiculously amazing. And then let them guide you. Get your website, name your business. Like my best thing I ever did, which just came from my brain miraculously, was I named my business based on a Google search. So if you are sitting here in Plymouth and you're like, I need an event planner, can Google access your location? Yes. I come up number 1 every time.
That's genius.
Never paid Google a dime. And a majority of the things I do, I'll say, oh, how did you find me? I just Googled, you were the first and you had great reviews. Awesome.
Where do you see yourself going from here? What does the future hold for you?
So, in 45 minutes, I'm going for a dance lesson. No, I'm just kidding. I was kidding. So what I plan to do, the bar service is growing super fast, and we're creating our own canned cocktail. Should launch this spring is the plan there. And that piggybacks on top of the event planning. What I would love to see in the next 5+ years is to be the background of the event planning, doing it all, and then maybe going to wedding number 1 on Saturday, checking in on everyone, checking in the bride, then head over to wedding 2, check on everything. So to actually not be there for the full 10 hours. I would like to almost be the general contractor of the weddings and then have my girls be able to take it in stride and just do the whole wedding on their own with me checking in.
And what about for you personally?
Personal? What do you mean? I don't have any personal time. Tiff, there's no personal time, all right? These bags under these eyes, I didn't have to paint those on. No, I would definitely like to vacation more, which is the first time I've been able to do it this year with my kids. Like, I want to see the world. My ultimate goal is to see lots of places in the world. I think it's an amazing thing. Money makes the world go round, but it does take a little more to travel constantly. I enjoy foreign languages. I enjoy meeting new people, different cultures, and I want to expose my children to that. It's just the more experiences you have, the more you learn. So to me, that's very interesting, and that's what I would like to continue to do.
Love it. Julie Brewster, such a pleasure. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. You're the best.
You're
this
the
is
best.
awesome.
Stephen O'Neill of the Hanover Historical Society will be leading April's free walking tour of Burial Hill. Join him on April 6th at 1 p.m. for Veterans of the Revolution, a strolling visit to grave sites associated with our American Revolution. On the tour, you'll learn about Plymouth's part in the Revolution through the personal accounts of patriots, Tories, soldiers, sailors, political leaders, and families on the home front. There will be stops at the final resting places of Surgeon Dr. James Thatcher, writer Mercy Otis Warren, and the mass grave of the sailors who perished aboard the tragic brigantine, the General Arnold. The Burial Hill Walks happen every first Saturday of the month and are presented by the Pilgrim Hall Museum and the Pilgrim Antiquarian Society. Tours meet and begin at the top of the hill and last for about an hour. Please wear shoes appropriate for steep and grassy hills. No reservations are required for individuals and families. Here is a word about the Plymouth County Sheriff Farm from Sheriff McDonald.
Hello, this is Plymouth County Sheriff Joe McDonald. One of the oldest farms in the country is located at 74 Obery Street in Plymouth, and I am proud that the Sheriff's Farm is a family favorite destination. At one time, the farm was used to feed the men that were incarcerated in the jail. Today, anywhere from 16,000 to 20,000 pounds of fresh produce is grown and donated to our food pantries. Weekly, we are donating fresh herbs and lettuce through our aquaponics and hydroponics program to address food insecurity in our region. But the best part of the farm is that it is a free and fun spot to come, see the animals in the petting zoo, or have a picnic. Both in the spring and fall, our greenhouses are filled with beautiful plants that we sell to support the inmate rehabilitation programs. Follow us on social media or visit us at pcsdma.org to learn more about and look for our announcements on our spring and fall festivals. Thank you.
Every year, 2 to 5 solar eclipse events take place, darkening the sky as the moon passes between the sun and the earth. This natural wonder has fascinated humankind forever, but it wasn't until modern day that we had the equipment that made it possible for us to view this astronomical occurrence safely. On March 30th, the Duxbury Free Library invites you to Science Saturdays to create your very own eclipse pinhole viewer, so you can observe the upcoming solar eclipse in April. This program is intended for ages 6 and up. The library asks that children under grade 4 be accompanied by an adult. Register via the Duxbury Free Library website. The upcoming solar eclipse is bright around the corner, and the Blake Planetarium is ready to raise the roof with Totality, the featured program showing on Thursday, April 4th at 7 p.m. Totality will teach you how eclipses happen, provide a bit of history on eclipse watching, and the best instruction on the best way to view an eclipse safely. The program is 1 hour long and will be most enjoyed by guests aged 10 years old and up. Tickets are $7 and are available for purchase by phone or online through Eventbrite. There are no ticket sales at the door. Parking is free. Here's Julie Thompson with a closer look at the town of Pembroke.
Welcome. Today we're taking a closer look at the municipality of Pembroke and specifically the Recreation Department. And I'm so pleased to be joined by Lance Kennedy, who's now the Director of the Recreation Department. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. This is a kind of a expanded position for the town of Pembroke for a whole bunch of reasons. Before we get into what you'll be doing for Pembroke, can you give us a little background about you?
Sure.
As far as rec goes?
I would love to. So the reason I was interested in this role in the first place is really for the last 20 years or so of my life I've dedicated to the communities, working for the YMCA. And really that stems from my parents. My dad was a teacher and sort of instilled sort of that community work in me. I've been involved in communities where I've lived, from being on school committees to, which I did here in Pembroke as well, but also just it goes back to my father, who said, you know, if there's a problem, stop complaining and be a part of the solution, right? So that sort of got me involved in things. And then as a teacher, I was working with students, but seeing other issues coming to to the classroom and wanted a way to really impact that. So that's what got me involved with the Y. And then from there, I've really had an opportunity to serve communities on the whole, from the youth to adults and families. And really that's where my passion has been over the last 20 years. So when I had an opportunity to come back to my home community and be a part of that and serve my own community, that's where my heart was.
What a win-win.
Yeah,
Right,
so
right.
it's been excited to be part in my own community and to really put some of my connections that I've had just from living here to good use in this role.
Okay, so let's talk about the new, the Recreation Department in Pembroke is responsible for, you're responsible for some of the town properties, you work with town departments, you work with community organizations, and the most important thing I think right now that everybody is talking about in Pembroke is the new community center.
It is.
And how that will change the whole attitude towards recreation and all the things that can be done, as well as what the seniors can get involved with. So can you just kind of give a huge global overview of what this community center is going to bring?
Sure, and hopefully, I know a lot have envisioned this for a long time.
Yes.
And it's exciting to see it to come to fruition for all those that have been a part of this. And I think their vision and the vision of the community really for the center is it's a place where everyone can come together, right? It's going to be able to provide not only just the physical space, where it will have a gymnasium and it'll have multi-purpose spaces that the community can come and take advantage of, as well as a kitchen that we can host events and all kinds of fun things. But really that'll be a social hub where people can come and gather from all ages. So we're envisioning, and you talked about senior programs, the COA and I have talked tremendously about how we can partner together and have seniors work with our youth, whether it's teaching them how to do a knit or quilt, or it's reading to them, or various opportunities that there'll be, and vice versa, have our youth teach them technology and various other opportunities. So really, this community center is going to be that opportunity to be the hub to, right now, as Pembrokeans, we've had to go other places for activities. So having fitness options, having ways for not only the health side, but the wellness side, do mindfulness classes, have art classes and various different programs that will help with a holistic approach. Definitely.
Sure. And it's like you said, it's multi-generational.
It
which
is.
We finally have a building where everybody can come to,
Everyone.
which is nice.
It is.
So you are responsible, the Recreation Department is responsible for a lot of the fields, the playgrounds, etc. Can you go into exactly what we have right now and the plans that are going to upgrade them?
Sure. The town, and I know we're going through our master plan right now, so it's a great way to highlight some of the great spaces that we do have in our community. So under the rec department right now, we have Magoon Park, which is sort of on the north side of town that many of you know. We have a baseball field there. We had a playground and a few other things. We're looking to expand on that. We received some funds recently to improve the field area so that the community can use it. I know the high school JV team uses that, so we want to make sure it's available and running well for them, but we can also rent that out to gain some funds back to the community. There's plans for potentially other pieces there, see the playground rebuilt over in that space, and a few others. We're improving the parking space there. We have our Birch Street playground, which is on the other side of town, closer to Duxbury. That playground is in great shape. It's one that many of our families use. But there's a field there that is really gone unused at this point, and we've had some discussion with our rec commission about how do we utilize that space a little better. And I know there's been conversations about a dog park. So we know everyone through the COVID season, we've seen a lot of more family pets, and being able to get them out and experience the outdoors. We want a good place for them to go. So that's something that we're looking at. We also received funds for the Byzantium Field, which is behind the community center. To see that it's sort of it's in disrepair a little bit with the fencing and some other areas. So we want to see it really usable, as it's going to now be connected to the community center and our camp kids and our after-school kids, and we can run programming down there. So we're looking to improve that area. And then we're going to see, we have 4 waterfronts in town. So we want to see those improved, and so we've got new docks and new boat ramps coming in for each one of those.
So your department is in charge of all of that?
We do oversee that, yes.
Yeah, you do oversee all of it. So you also work with some of the sports, youth sports that's already in town. What are those?
So when I first started, I've been involved in several boards with my own kids, and during COVID, there was a time that the leadership got together to say, how do we help our youth during this time. So I've been able to carry that on. So we meet quarterly now as youth leadership and to see how the town can support them.
Yep.
Each one of them are their own youth entities and they run their own activities, but they're dependent on the town fields and town facilities to really run these activities. So
Right.
I thought it important that we get that partnership strengthened so
Yep.
that we can really meet the needs and make sure that each sport has the space that would meet their needs.
Okay. And one of the most important things I think is to constantly get information out to people. And I know the rec department has its own website, but it's a little outdated. So
Sure.
you're going to be really revamping and up. Can you talk about that? Because that's a really important place for people to go.
Sure, and we are. And I think as we come into the new facility, it's nice to have everything shiny and new, right? And
Yeah.
for us, it's more about functionality. And we know the amount of offerings we had prior to the new building were minimized
Yeah.
just because of the space that we had. And now going into this new space, we're going to have a lot more options, a lot more program options, which means our system needs to be able to handle that.
Sure.
So we'll be getting a new management system for the building.
Yep.
And with that, that'll give us some new communication tools. We'll be able
Sure.
to have a mobile app and some other tools that we can communicate to the community to really let them know what's going on. So we're very excited for that new opportunity.
And I would think that that building is going to be busy all the time.
That's our hope.
That's the
Yes,
plan, right?
That is the
I
plan.
mean, why not? There's
Sure.
no reason not to.
And I know there's been lots of questions about what's my access to the building, right? And really, we want everyone to sign up as a member. And
Sure.
what that's going to do is allow us to communicate to you. There won't be a cost for that. So obviously, as a Pembroke resident, you're going to have, but to be a member, that just means we can communicate to you and let you know what's going on.
Sure.
And then there will be some activities. So that gets you in. You'll have access to the gym.
Yep.
We're still working hopefully on space for a fitness center. So there can be some wellness and health and wellness opportunities there. And of course, the track above the gym, which is going to be a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Living in New England, we know it's hard to get outside in the winter
Yeah.
months. So we'll have that indoor track will be a great opportunity for our residents.
Yeah, I think that building's going to be very popular in the winter months.
It will be.
Yeah. To see the entirety of this interview, visit a closer look playlist on the Local Scene Government Services YouTube channel.
Here's some information you'll want to know from Park Plymouth.
Hello, I'm Desmond Egan, Director of Park Plymouth. Plymouth Growth and Development Corporation, PGDC, Park Plymouth, manages parking through the downtown and waterfront districts. PGDC oversees the operation of Park Plymouth and is managed by a 7-member volunteer board of local business owners and community stakeholders, appointed by the Plymouth Select Board. Park Plymouth manages paid parking through the downtown and waterfront areas from April 1st through November 30th. You can pay hourly from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. at any of our paid parking lots, deck, and on-street meters, or use the Passport parking app from your phone. Park Plymouth also offers permits for purchase for Plymouth residents and out-of-town employees of waterfront and downtown businesses. There are 2 different types of permits available, premium and limited. They differ in costs and where the permit will allow you to park. For more information on parking or purchasing a permit, please visit our website, parkplymouth.com, or call our office at 508-747-5929. Thank you.
And that, my friends, wraps what's good and good to know this week on the local scene. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. For more of what's good and good to know on the South Shore of Massachusetts, hit the subscribe button. And thank you for watching.